Good evening. It is 8:30 on Friday night, and it is time for another Questions with Nyime Live episode. I'm really excited to be here. Hope you guys are all doing well. I've had a great week. I'm very much in the space of thank Yah it's Friday because it's always nice to have the opportunity to recharge and just to refresh until the week starts again starts on Sunday, but Monday, we go back into the swing of things at work and so on and so forth. But yeah, hope everyone is well. Today we are continuing on the theme of friendships, and it's been really interesting actually. I think the question that I think has had the most response was yesterday's question, which was how do we identify fake friends? I think many people probably have had experiences in this area, so perhaps you you experienced being in a relationship with a fake friend, and obviously how that was revealed to you. So that was interesting. So I'm going to touch on some of those answers today. But yeah, so I'm going to just wait a minute for people to jump on, and then I'll get started. But yeah, the questions that we did this week, so I'm discussing Wednesday's question, Thursday's question, and Friday's question. Just to recap, Wednesday's question, hey Matt, Wednesday's question was about understanding the dynamics of friendship. Do we need to spend more time understanding the dynamics of friendship as we do romantic relationships, for example? The fourth question of this week was how do you identify fake friends? And the last question was, are we too quick to cut people off? I did post the last question quite late in the day today, so probably around 3-4 o'clock. So I doubt everybody, would have had the chance to see it, but we can still discuss it. And the conversation is still ongoing anyway. So, yeah. Yes, it is a blessed Friday. Friday, I love that. It is a blessed Friday. So I hope you are well. Hope you've had a good week. But yeah, just gonna wait a few more minutes. I'll just pin the comment here. Right. Guys, my children are still awake. It's Friday night. And so if you do hear children in the background, that's them. I've told them not to come in, but they might come in. It's just mummy life. Normally they'd be in bed, but yeah, it's Friday. And yeah. So, hi Gabrielle. I hope you're well, hon. Right. So anyway, let's get started. Yes, it is a blessing. It is a blessing just to have, the noise of children around. It is a blessing. But yeah, let's get started. So the first question, I pinned it there, is do we need to spend more time identifying friendship dynamics, or understanding actually friendship dynamics, than we do romantic relationship dynamics? I think this is a really good question because I think we do spend a lot of time understanding the dynamics between a man and a woman in a relationship context, and I feel as though we don't do the same when it comes to friendship dynamics. And the thing is, friendships have the capacity to make you or break you as well. I think friendships have the capacity to provide you with a level of care, affection. Obviously the romantic side isn't there, but even in these platonic relationships, you've got so much that you're benefiting from in this dynamic, as well as so much that you're pouring into, that you can experience heartbreak because of a friend, right? And what a friend does to a person. I mean, we hear all these out there stories, but I think they're probably not as out there as we'd like to believe. But you know, where you've got a best friend who, like, you know, cheated on their like spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, with somebody that that they know. Do you know what I mean? That's quite close to them. I don't know if I put that right. So basically, a situation where somebody was betrayed, but the betrayal was at the hands of somebody that they were very close to, right? That probably makes some more sense. But that is a kind of heartbreak. Not only would you experience heartbreak in the sense of the romantic relationship, but also in the friendship. Like, you think that somebody's for you and it turns out that they're actually not for you. For them to be able to do something like that to you, that can really affect you. That can cause trauma. So I do think that we do need to understand friendship dynamics way more. I think it's good to understand your personality type. I really do think that's great. I think it's good to understand the personality of the other person. I think that would probably help us just in terms of how we relate to each other. Like the whole thing about, for example, love languages. Like, everybody gives love and receives love differently. And so I think it's important for us to understand each other in our uniqueness and individuality and how we show up to the relationship. I do think there are things that, if it's a good friend, that are non-negotiable. I do think that there should be reciprocity. Like, it shouldn't be a thing where one person is pouring in and the other person isn't. Do you know what I'm trying to say? If it's a good friend, I truly believe that there will be a mutual respect, mutual love, mutual understanding, mutual reciprocity, understanding that, yeah, I pour in, I also receive, but I pour in too. Do you get what I mean? And fairly at the same level, you know, depending on who you are as a person. So, yeah, friends can pour in different ways, but I think it's good to understand that. I think it's good to understand the influence that friends can have over us. And I think these things are actually they're in the Bible, for example. Like, these things are actually in the Bible. And, you know, I think with Tuesday's chat, we talked about like the term friend, and how that term is I think maybe many of us grew up giving that term to people without those people fulfilling the criteria of a friend. And one of the things we identified was that if you grow emotionally, you mature emotionally, you don't just give the title friend to everybody, because you realize that there's actually a weight to that term, and somebody has to show up in a certain way. There has to be certain fruit that aligns with that terminology, if you get what I mean. But yeah, hey for me. So I do think friendship dynamics need to be understood more. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I pin the question: do we need to spend more time understanding friendship dynamics? And in comparison to how we spend time understanding romantic relationship dynamics. Yeah, because there's a level of access that a good friend has to you that, you know, somebody else who is not in that position doesn't have. Do you know what I mean? And so I do think that those dynamics are important to understand. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me see some of the comments here. Yes, I believe so. And I say understand each other's boundaries. Yes, I do. And I think that's important. Unconditionally and conditionally, pour in to pour out. Yeah, I think that's great, Matt. I think to understand each other's boundaries is also part of the dynamics of friendship. And I think, I don't know, I guess we spend more time thinking about who we're gonna get with romantically than we do about who we're gonna be friends with. Because, and I think that should, if that's not already changing in a person's life, I think they should definitely look into that more. Yeah, I think they should definitely look into that more. So yeah, that's the first question. Do we need to spend more time understanding friendship dynamics in comparison to romantic relationship dynamics? Right now, when I'm on this live, time just goes really quick. It's already 20 to 9. So we're gonna go to the next question. We've got 2 more questions to discuss. So hopefully people jump on, and yeah, we can kind of discuss these questions. The second, just to let anybody who's just joined know that my children are awake. So I have told them not to come into the room, but they may not listen to me. So yeah, just letting you know. Normally they are good children, so and they haven't come in so far, so I'm just letting you know if they do come in, because something's happened, something's kicked off. Anyway, let's move on to the second question that we're going to discuss today, which was question 4 of this week, and that was, how do we identify fake friends? Kids never listen. Well, you know what, mine actually do most of the time. They actually do most of the time, and if they were to come in, they'll be really apologetic and be like, "Mommy, I know you're doing your live, but this happened." So, you know, I think they do for the most part. But anyway, so yeah, the second question that we're going to discuss this week, or in this live, is how to identify fake friends. So this was one of the more popular questions, because I had quite a number of responses to this one. So I think the first one was when somebody contacts you or only gets in touch with you when they want something from you. You know, when they want something from you, that's when they get in touch with you. Like, they're never really interested in what's going on in your life. It's all about them. And they may not even realize that they're doing it, but oftentimes if you are on the receiving end of that, you're going to notice that. You're going to notice that this person is always only calling me when they need something. I had that, I've not had that a lot of times, to be honest, but I remember having that, recognizing that in a friendship that I had with somebody, that they only ever contacted me when they needed something. So whenever they popped up, I'm like, okay, what do they want? What do they need? And back then I was the sort of person that, like, if someone needs help or someone needs something from me, I'm going to try and help. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I didn't kind of read it as, actually, maybe you shouldn't give this person access in the same way. But yeah, anyway, so that was one that came up a couple of times, that when someone is calling you and all they want is what they can get from you. It's not about you. They don't care about, I would say they don't care, but from their interaction with you, it's clear that it's very transactional. It's very transactional, and they're not even investing anything, because normally when it's a transaction, you've given something to receive something, but you know, they're not even necessarily investing anything. So yeah, I do agree. I think when you know that, you know, this is not a true friend, right, then yeah, you should put up barriers. I think you should be a bit more protective of your time and your space and your mind and all that kind of stuff. But these are things that you learn as you go along. Like, if I could go back being the person that I am now, then absolutely I would do things a lot differently when it came to my relationships with people. But you know, you live and you learn. But yeah, so that was a major one. How people treat you, like whether they are there for you or there for what they can get from you. Another one was people dimming your light. So not necessarily when it's your time to shine, they either dim it or they minimize your achievements or your accomplishments or whatever it is. You know, they minimize it and they, you know, try and humble you or bring you back down to earth and all this kind of stuff. When really that's just a tactic of, in my opinion, just jealousy. They're not a true friend for you. Like, a true friend will celebrate you in your achievements. They will celebrate your accomplishments, and it doesn't even have to be a major thing. Again, I think this is where like personality types come in, because like I'm the sort of person that if you're doing something like and you're my friend, like I'm like going hard, like I'm letting people know on social media. I'm telling you, like, do you know what I mean? Like, come on, like I'm always, you know, trying to champion people, because whenever somebody sets out to do something and they are successful, when they accomplish something, I think it's important for their friends to celebrate them. It's important to be celebrated. I think it's part and parcel of being a true friend to somebody. In the same way that I celebrate you, I know people will celebrate me, you know, and I think it's great without there being any kind of like tension or animosity or like jealousy or anything like that. I think it's important to celebrate people and not to dim their light. So I think that's another way that people said that you can identify when someone's not really for you. They don't really want to see you progress. They want to see, like, if they feel that they're in a certain space or a point in their life and they see you kind of moving forward, you know, that is the insecurity the fear of being left behind, or the fear of not maximizing their potential, oftentimes can translate into that kind of behavior. And I think that, yeah, you may want to distance yourself. If you've noticed the pattern, at least. I mean, nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. But if there's a pattern here of somebody doing that kind of thing, then I absolutely, positively believe that there should be maybe a little bit of distance. And I think, it's difficult because, sometimes people deal with their own insecurities about themselves, their own self-confidence, their self-worth. And it may be difficult. Like you may notice that someone's always putting you down, or someone's trying to dim your light, but you don't have the strength or the courage to walk away from that relationship. You don't have the strength or the courage to confront the person about what they're doing. To a certain extent, they've convinced you that of what they're saying. Do you know what I'm saying? They've convinced you that you can only really stay in the space that you're in. So I also think it's important that we're all surrendering ourselves to the Almighty first and foremost, but also allowing him, and also doing the practical inner work that needs to be done, so that we're not, because of our lack of confidence or lack of self-worth, allowing ourselves to stay in relationships, friendships that are actually abusive. Let's just say what it is. Actually abusive. If you've been friends with someone for 5 to 10 years, for example, and they always diminish your achievements, they always diminish the things that you do that are well, it's only a matter of time before you start to believe that you're not doing anything. You know what I'm trying to say? And until you maybe get out of that space, that you realize that actually, what I've been in is dysfunctional. It's a dysfunctional friendship. And so many of us may have experienced it. Like you said, Matt, you've been there, and I've been there as well. And I've been in a position where I'm like, I know this is unhealthy, but I don't know how to leave, And so that's what I mean. Like, friendships and romantic relationships, there's a lot of dynamics that are similar, but for some reason friendships are they're lower on the ladder, to be honest, than romantic relationships. But it's good to understand these dynamics. Let me see what you're saying. Yeah, I do believe it can be difficult sometimes to know the cues and signals, because you can just be, to be fair, you could actually just think, oh, that's just what that person is like, or that's just their personality type. It's not anything serious. Do you know what I mean? And I think those kinds of people have a really pure, genuine, empathetic heart, and it's difficult for them to fathom that somebody could actually be trying to do something bad, particularly someone that's close to them. And so once you wise up, and unfortunately a lot of the time the wising up that we experience is as a result of going through situations where we realize that we've been in a friendship with someone that's literally not been for us. We have to go through it to really understand and get the wisdom, which is unfortunate, to be honest. Yeah, talking behind your back, yeah, that's a good one. Gossip, person's chatting you, yeah, I think that's definitely one that you can identify as a fake friend, particularly if that information comes back to you, because sometimes obviously they're talking behind your back, you don't know that they're doing it, you don't actually know that they're doing it. So yeah, definitely I would add that to the list of things that people said. So that was dimming your light, and perhaps extending that into not celebrating you when you're doing well in life, and so on and so forth. And I think it's really, really sad, because life happens, life progresses in different ways. Perhaps two friends that started being friends from when they were in high school, they've gone through life seasons together. One of them, I don't know, maybe lands her dream job, and the other one doesn't. It's kind of like coasting, for example. And it's interesting how the different scenarios in life bring out people's real true feelings, more so about themselves than anybody else. But the situation, how life unfolds, can really have an effect, a detrimental effect on a friendship. Gabby says, yeah, I think there needs to be a separation from jealousy. Absolutely. A jealous friend can be very dangerous. Best friends have harmed each other because of jealousy. Absolutely. And you know what's interesting? I wasn't going to raise this, but I am convinced that weddings and funerals bring out the crazy in people. You can think that you've got a really close friend, best friend, but just get married. Just attempt to get married and you really see, like, I've heard so many stories of bridal parties just not making it post the wedding, you know, friendships just being completely just torn apart, you know, and sometimes it comes down to jealousy, like, and it's so sad because you might have had a really watertight relationship or what you thought was a watertight friendship, and then this happens. And I think someone actually posted this when it came to the fake friends answer. They said that whatever is hidden is going to come out, right? And that's what the Bible says. It says that whatever is hidden is going to come to light. Everything is. And sometimes it's a blessing in disguise that, you know, the true intention, the true heart of someone that you've been rolling with for a long time is revealed. Because, you know, I often think that we don't want to think badly of people. We want to give people the benefit of the doubt. We don't want to think that, again, they're doing something bad to us. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes, you know, life happens in such a way whereby what is hidden, what is happening behind the scenes, what's in the intents of the heart is revealed, so that you can now do what you need to do with that information. Unfortunately, and it's happened to me, I see what has been revealed and I go back. I go back to the relationship. I don't take the cues. I don't take the information and be like, actually, wisdom would dictate that maybe I take a step back from this relationship, or maybe I have a conversation with this person so that we can kind of resolve some things, you know? Sometimes you just don't take the cues. But I'm telling you now, guys, what is hidden in a person's heart will come to light. Particularly when it comes to friendships, it will absolutely come to light. See, got one of my kids coming into the room. So, yeah, Shania, I'm just on live at the moment.
Mommy.
Yeah? Oh, you're okay. Can you okay, I'm gonna when I'm done, be done soon, yeah? Okay, can you go and play until I'm done? Thank you so much. Close the door for me. Thank you. So they came in. but yeah, so I'm not even sure where I was up to now. But yeah, what is hidden will be brought to light. I think that is a very, 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 very major key. You know what I mean? Even if you don't clock it, somehow something will happen that reveals the motive of this person. I remember something happened to me, and with someone that I was close to, and so I didn't know how to even place the interaction, but they just literally went off at me for something that I felt was very minor in comparison to how they went off at me, and I felt so bad. I was second guessing myself. I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And it wasn't a big deal. Like, if it happened to me, I would have been like, I don't want to go into the details, but I would have been like, oh, that's fine. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But then for that person, it was a big deal. And they were literally going off at me, and they were cussing me, and they were saying cussing my relationship and just all sorts. And it was crazy because this is somebody that I would have said I was close to. It's actually, I said, whoa. And so I was feeling so bad. And actually, I relayed the situation to another friend of mine. And she was just like, wait a minute, that's extreme. And I was so grateful because in my mind, I was like, I feel really, really bad. Like, I didn't want to hurt this person. You know, but then they were like, yeah, like, fair enough. You know, X happened and it wasn't nice, but for them to say all those things, that's completely not on. And so that helped me get a bit of perspective on the situation, that like, actually this person thought these things about me all this time. And that's the thing with perception. Like, you cannot control someone's perception of you. Like, even with the best intentions, like, someone can still perceive you in a negative way. And it's sad. It's really, really sad that sometimes instead of like maybe having a conversation, you know, we'd rather just stick with our perception of things. And but yeah, such is life. Such is life. So yeah, we're talking about identifying fake friends. Please share your comments. So we talked about someone that's only contacting you when they want something from you. We talked about someone dimming your light and not celebrating you. Talked about talking behind your back as well. But yeah, like my children said, I think they answered the question. If you saw my stories, they were like, oh, you look at the behavior of the person. And I think that's completely right. I think I did put in one of my responses, I posted one of the answers, and I did write underneath that sometimes you're not actually assessing the fruit of an individual, like, because you have met them or you are relating to them largely in a context or a space that you think is safe. So you're not necessarily looking at a family member and thinking and assessing their fruit because they're your family, and you don't expect them to be people that would be against you in that sense. Or for example, those of us that go to church, you know, you're not necessarily looking at the fruit of the person in church. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because you just expect that, oh, it's a brother and sister, do you know what I mean, in Christ. So why would they, you know, have ill intent towards me? But honestly, I just think that applies across the board. By their fruit you will know them, is what somebody said, and I think that's so true. By their fruit you will know them. Over time there will be instances that reveal to you what the true intent of a person's heart is, and yeah, it's important for us to look at the signs and make a judgment based on the signs. Try not to be as emotional about the decision that we make, which is difficult, because if it's a true friendship, or you thought it's a true friendship, you've invested yourself emotionally, so it's just very tricky in that sense. But yeah, identifying fake friends. Please free the realness. There's actually a scenario that I wanted to present to you guys. Not present, because I already posted it on my stories. But yeah, so this person said that in the context of their friendship with somebody, they thought the person that they're friends with thought that they were valued more than they actually were. So basically they're close to, so A is close to B, or A thinks that the closeness between A and B is like 9 out of 10, whereas B looks at A and deems their closeness to be about 6 out of 10. So because there's a deficit of 3 there, it's easy for A to believe that B is a fake friend because there's that deficit in terms of value of the person or the relationship. And it's interesting because I was like, oh, how did you navigate this? And they were like, I'm still trying to navigate it because I don't really know what to do. And you know, the person was like, according to my friend, I come across like a fake friend, and it's really about the fact that they thought, you know, they were closer to me than they actually were, you know. And so that's a tricky situation. What do you guys think about that? I hope I've explained it well, because I think I've gone up and down, but if you want me to explain it again, I can just put it in the comments. But yeah, so that's an interesting one, very interesting. But it's 8:59, so let's move along to the third question, which was, do we cut off friendships too easily? Basically, are we too quick to cut off friendships? So let me just put it in the comments, pin it in the comments. Are we too quick to cut off friendships? Yeah. Are we too quick to cut off friendships? Now, I think there's a lot to be said for cutting people off. I think it was a really big thing on social media for a while, like cutting off everybody and anything that is hindering my peace, and you know, anything that is bringing negativity in my life, I'm cutting it off. And it was a real thing, and I think that it's so important to have a balanced view of things, and social media can very much be an echo chamber. So whatever you're thinking, whatever you're looking at, it's just repeating the same kind of information, the same rhetoric to you. I'm personally of the belief that there are instances where a person should be cut off. There are instances where, like for example, you might wake up, in a sense, in a relationship. You realize, actually, when I look back, this relationship wasn't really that healthy. And I've just exposed myself to an unhealthy relationship because I just couldn't see it, you know? Sometimes you just can't see it. And so when you wake up, it's kind of like, oh, actually, I don't know if this relationship can progress, particularly when you've identified a pattern. So I think in those kind of situations, you have to kind of look at whether you want the relationship to continue, and whether it's worth having a conversation with the person rather than just going off like the pattern that you have seen. And yeah, so that can be an interesting scenario. But yeah, I think that I think in some instances we can be too quick. And there are instances where I believe that you think about the relationship, you think about the fact that people make mistakes, and sometimes it's about having a conversation. Sometimes people don't realize certain things, like you could be offended about something that someone's done, but they don't know that they've offended you, you know. And so until you have a conversation about it and like actually talk it through, then you'll just carry information that could be false. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That this person, because once you stew on offense, I think, or once you stew on what someone's done, do you know what I'm trying to say, without kind of having that conversation with them, it can be very, very difficult to like actually initiate a resolve, because you've now convinced yourself that how you've perceived the situation is 100%, and it might not be. You know, again, we're all human, we all make mistakes, and if we can acknowledge that for ourselves, then why wouldn't we afford the same grace to other people? So I do think there are situations where, you know, cutting off shouldn't be the first port of call. I mean, but again, personality types come into this because there's some people that are just like, as soon as they notice anything, any small negative thing, they're out of there. They're like, fam, I don't have time for it, you know. And maybe that works for some people. I think that it'd be difficult to have friendships with people if you're always cutting everybody off. But yeah, anyway, guys, share your thoughts. Has anyone experienced cutting anybody off? Are there instances that you would cut somebody off? Are there like non-negotiables, like gross mistakes that it's like, I can't even discuss this with you, this is just straight cut off? But yeah, let me know. And please share your thoughts on the other questions as well. The first one was, do we need to understand friendship dynamics in the same way as romantic relationship dynamics? Second one was identifying fake friends. And the third one that we're on now is, are we too quick to cut off friendships? Let me look at some of the comments here. Don't know if I want to again. What was that in relation to, Matt? If you just remind me. Explain themselves. Yes. Maybe customer I'd like to, but I can't. I'd like to, but I can't. If you could just give a bit of context, so I can. I know you're probably responding as I'm talking, and then yeah. But yeah, are we too quick to cut off friendships? Gabby. I think it's important to discern when someone needs to be cut off or given patience. Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is where prayer comes in, to be honest, because sometimes you can't know, you know, you can't know what to do. So obviously that's where prayer comes in, and you're like, you know, God, what do I do here? You know, help me to discern. Because sometimes, you know, for me, actually, the first time I would say I cut somebody off was when it was revealed to me by God that this person wasn't for me. And it was a crazy way that it happened, because initially it was like, I was reading the Bible, reading Proverbs. Proverbs is a really good book. When it comes to relationships and friendships, it's a really good book. So I was reading Proverbs, and I think I was doing one a day that month. And this was years and years ago. And, you know, certain people kept coming to my mind. And initially I was like, what's happening here? Like, I'm reading the Bible, intending to know what I need to work on. Do you know what I mean? It's like a mirror to look at the things that I need to get rid of, the things that I need to surrender to the Almighty. So I was kind of like, why am I thinking about these people? And then lo and behold, like a few days or like a week later, like basically ish hit the fan. And it was revealed to me that actually these people were not for me. And it was quite sad, to be honest with you, because obviously when you're friends with somebody and when you actually believe that someone's for you and they're not, it can be quite difficult to deal with. Because like I said, friendships and relationships, like romantic relationships, are very similar. I think you can experience heartbreak in those relationships, in friendships, in the same way that you experience them in relationships. But yeah, it's difficult to kind of like, you know, almost move on because you've shared so much together in your friendship. So it's a difficult one, but I know I've never cut anybody off. Before that point, I'd never ever even thought about cutting somebody off. I just thought, you know, as time goes on, you know, you might be close to someone and then time goes on and then it's like, you're not, there's a distance there, and I don't think that happens by accident. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, that happened to me. Oh, you talk about marriage. Okay. Yeah, marriage is... I'm not talking about marriage today. But yeah, again, some of the dynamics are similar, though. Probably even more intense, I'd say, in marriage, to be honest. I don't know if I want to again. Okay. Yeah, but that's it, guys. I think that, you know, friendships in general is a topic for me that I'm definitely being way more prayerful about. Just making sure that I'm with the right people, making sure that I'm actually assessing fruit. It's important. No matter how much you like somebody, no matter how much you love somebody, like you enjoy their company, it's important to decide what works for you. I think it's important to decide what your deal breakers are as well, what your non-negotiables are, because sometimes, I know for me at least, I was stumbling into friendships, didn't really have the boundaries that I needed to have. So you're inevitably going to experience, you know, you're gonna be hurt, you're gonna experience pain, but unnecessary pain, because if you put boundaries in place, then those things possibly won't happen. Do you get what I mean? But yeah, it's important to assess everything and everyone. And obviously somebody had actually said, how do you identify a fake friend? They said prayer and discernment. And I think that's so key, because sometimes you just don't know. You really believe that the friendship is mutual. There's mutual love, there's mutual respect, mutual understanding, mutual, investment, there's, longevity, there's time, and you just don't know. You think that someone's for you and they're not. And so, prayer and discernment is definitely a major key. I definitely believe in cutting someone off who just doesn't have good intentions for you. Absolutely. And I think the intentions will be made known in different ways. And, what I used to do a lot was give people the benefit of the doubt, because I don't want to automatically think negatively of someone. It's very difficult for me to think someone's like intentionally malicious. It's very hard. So, but then I'm like, now I have to just learn that it is what it is. Sometimes people are like that and it's unfortunate, but they are. And so do you want to put yourself in harm's way, or do you want to, take that information that's been revealed to you and use it and act wisely with it, if that makes sense. So I've learned the hard way. Yeah, many of us have, unfortunately. Like, we've learned because we've been burnt. We've learned because we've been burnt. How about that? But, you never catch me being burnt again. You never catch me being burnt again. And I think if there is a cycle or a pattern in your friendships and relationships, then, like, it's important for you to be able to assess yourself and look at the common denominator. Because if you're experiencing similar things, it's like, I need to look at me. I did that recently. I really went introspective. Went into introspective zone, or mode, should I say. And I was really trying to objectively analyze how I was as a friend. Am I a good friend? What makes me think I'm a good friend? Are there things about me that are difficult to deal with, do you think? Have I had bad intent at any point in time? Just really asking myself really honest questions. Or when so and so did this, why did that affect you? Do you get what I mean? Is what they did actually because what they did the thing that hurt you, or is what they did the thing that triggered something else that was lying underneath? I mean, you just got to ask all these questions, because it's important for you to know yourself. Beyond obviously you being yourself, you're actually a person, and you actually have needs, you have desires, you have things that irritate you, things that you enjoy. So you are a whole person that needs to know yourself as well. I think it's very important to be selective with friends. Absolutely. Be kind and loving to people, but you know who your real people are. 100,000%. I agree with that. I agree with that. I think, and it's good that you know that, you know, the age that you're at, Gabby, because when I was your age, I wasn't really selective like that. I really wasn't, you know. So I'm glad, because again, as we discussed earlier, what is hidden comes to light. So if you need that help, I believe that, and you know, someone's heart is not good towards you, I believe that you know, Yah has mercy upon you, to be honest with you, because you maybe just can't see it. You just can't see it. But yes, I totally believe you have to be selective with friends. And it's true. We definitely need to know ourselves and make sure we're the good friends that we want. Absolutely. Once I decided what I want in a friend, and then also what I can give in a friendship, you know, I wanted to make sure that, you know, whoever I am friends with, I'm not expecting more of them than I expect of myself. Do you get what I mean? So, yeah. Anyway, guys, it's 9:10. It's been great chatting with you guys about these questions that we asked over the week. Please keep the conversation going. If there's anything that comes to mind, I've posted, the posts are on my page, on my stories. Yeah, let's keep the conversation going. Even when I post this live now, it'd be great to hear more of your thoughts and comments and all of that. All of the episodes that we've done so far are on my YouTube page, Nyime Music. And I've got the recaps of the videos when I kind of get a bit of a flavour of the videos on my Instagram. But yeah, as always, keep streaming the single questions and all my music if you can. That would be great. But yeah, it's been great to chat with you all. I hope you have a great weekend. It's still fairly early in the night, so maybe you can chill or watch a movie, relax, you know, do what you need to do. But yes, I will see you on the next live, which will be on Tuesday. But look out for the questions of the day. Come in every single day. Get involved. Share them. You know, let's talk. Let's dialogue. But yeah, it's been great, guys. Take care. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.